Welcome back to another episode of the Black to Business podcast. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall, and today's episode is all about customer service in your business. We are covering it all. But before we get into that, let me share that here at Black to Business, we're all about helping Black business owners grow their businesses and providing them with the resources to do so. The way we've been able to do this is by bringing you advice from people who have shown proven results and have some skin in the game. Let's be clear, we're not about the blind leading the blind. Now that we have that out the way, back to what I was saying. Today's episode is about the importance of customer service in your business. I've invited Claudette Harris, president of At Your Service Consulting, LLC, and Touchpoints of Service, where she provides customer service training and consulting services. Claudette has over 30 years of experience of both the corporate and entrepreneurial sector. Talk about skin in the game. In this episode, we discuss how to find your customers and understand their specific needs, how to increase and maintain your customer base, how to deal with both internal and external customers, which includes training your team. And I had to put it in there. We even talked about the generalization that Black-owned businesses don't provide great customer service. Major side-eye. And let's be real, is customer service even the real issue? Trust me, I can go on and on about that, but I won't. So let's get into it. So Claudette, thank you so much for joining the show today. I'm so excited to have you here. We've prepared some great content. So thank you and welcome to the Black to Business podcast.
Well, thank you, Monique. This is a great opportunity for me, and I'm looking forward to talking with you over the next hour or so.
Great. So before we get started, I wanted to tell my listeners who don't yet know about you and your story, how did you get where you are today? If you could just explain, and what is it that you do in your business?
So Monique, I began as a customer rep for a major corporation over 35 years ago. And I spent 15 years as a customer rep on the phones and in the office, which is face-to-face. And I progressed through the years to assistant supervisor, manager, dealing with both residential and business customers. So I've had a lot of opportunity to provide service to customers at all levels, all personalities and temperaments. And we sometimes tend to forget about internal customers, too, when we talk about dealing with customers. And the same thing applies. Also, in a non-corporate environment, I have served as a hospitality lead for a mid-sized church, did that for 5 years. And currently, I'm at a large church, and I'm part of the Connect team as a greeter and a section leader. But I have a passion, Monique, for providing extraordinary customer service no matter where I am and who I'm dealing with, and also teaching others how to provide it. And that's how I started at Your Service Consulting and Touchpoints of Service, which is the nonprofit end of my business. And I started that about 6.5 years ago. We provide customer service training and consulting to organizations that are wishing to increase, maintain, and retain their customers and increase customer satisfaction. And we do that for-profit and nonprofit organizations.
Awesome. So definitely, I'm excited about today's topic. Thank you for sharing that. And which brings to my next point, what we're going to be discussing with over 15 years of experience. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with the audience on the importance of customer service in your business. So Claudette, you've been doing customer service for 15 years. And I, as a consumer, as a business owner, I hear this phrase all the time: have great customer service. So can you please share with our audience the different elements of customer service and why does it matter for our businesses?
Certainly. I have been in customer service for over 35 years. And
wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm retiring. I forgot to mention that, December 31st. Thank you. But when we talk about customer service, you look at the typical definition that you find in the dictionary. And it says that a customer is somebody that purchases a commodity or a service. Well, actually, customers are everyone. It's not just someone that's purchasing a commodity or service, but as I mentioned earlier, you've got internal customers as well. And so when you consider that everyone has a need for a product or service, even those that are off the grid have needs to be satisfied. So you look at customer as you define it, and then you look at really what service is. And that goes way beyond just offering a quality of product or service. You have to satisfy your customer's requirements, and that's what's mostly important, is what the customer wants. If you look at statistics, there are many studies that have been done. It shows that it's much less expensive to retain an old customer than to acquire a new one. So you don't want to lose your loyal customers to your competitors. And good customer service is a key factor that will help your business create and maintain loyal customers. So customer service in a nutshell is just providing everyone that you come in contact with that needs your business, needs your product or service that you're offering, what they want. And it's defined by the customer.
Definitely. So would you say that there are some specific things that business owners should be paying attention to when it comes to serving their customers?
Absolutely. There are, I think one, and I touched on it, is knowing your customer. We can't put the customer like in a cookie cutter and just say they all want one thing or one way. So it's important that business owners seek to understand the customer's specific needs and serve them in that manner. As a business owner, it's important to be approachable, to show empathy, to give unbiased treatment. And from my experience, I dealt with low-income customers to large business. And there shouldn't be any difference in how they're treated. They may be paying more money, depending on who they are, but they're still a customer. Also, business owners need to be able to say yes. And by that, I don't mean giving away the store, but give options. If you're not able to give the customer exactly what they're asking for, give options of what you can do. I think one of the things that I find is a customer or a business owner that will say, no, we don't do that. But certainly there's something that can be done. And so it's very important to give options when you're not able to give the customer exactly what they're asking for. And then let the customer know in detail what you do provide. You have to provide them with the expectations, set the expectations of what you do provide. And then always aim for extraordinary service. And there's a quote I like by Zig Ziglar that says, there are no traffic jams on the extra mile. And I think that's good for any, yeah, I love it too. I love that one too. Because you think about it, when you provide extraordinary customer service, it's not everybody that's doing that. And so it makes your business stand out as the one that customers want to stay loyal to. So go the extra mile. And I think that's very important for business owners to do that, or striving to be successful.
And what I get from that, just, taking in what you said, is also, like you mentioned, giving options when you're not able to give what they're asking for. And what I hear in that is patience and, taking that time, because they may be able to refer someone else to you because you were able to take that time with them. But it's also, like you mentioned, there's no traffic jams on going the extra mile. I love that. Right. I wrote that one down.
Yeah, that's a great quote. I use it often. Even in my own business, I use it often because it's not comfortable all the time, going the extra mile, but it's well worth it. And then to touch back on providing the options, sometimes options, if you give a customer an option, you may say, well, I don't have this product, but let me look around to see who does. And it may be that they may not purchase that product or service from you, but certainly they'll remember that you helped them get what they needed at the time they needed it, and they'll come back to you.
Definitely. So I definitely want to touch on, if we could, dealing with customer service. And this is Black to Business Podcast. Our audience are Black business owners. If you could just touch on the fact of dispelling the myths that Black-owned businesses don't provide great customer service. I have this discussion with my friends all the time.
Yeah. And it's interesting that that question is asked because, you see people on Facebook and in social media really downplaying if they have been serviced or lack of service for Black-owned businesses. And that really saddens me because certainly it's a hasty generalization, and it's not like we're supporting each other. I think if you have a bad experience, whether it be a Black-owned business or other, you deal with it with the manager and not. Yeah, social media is very powerful. And so for us to downplay another Black business on social media, I think is not the best thing to do. But, as I said, saying that Black-owned businesses don't provide good customer service is a generalization. I have had excellent customer service provided from a number of Black-owned businesses, and proudly will support them and will continue to do so. And I think that's how we get better. We talk to each other and we help each other on what needs to be done. I do think there are some things that you might find in Black-owned businesses that cause the myth, and a lot of them are short-staffed. A lot of them are not able to adequately train staff because of lack of time and life circumstances and different things that we deal with. I did a post the other day on Instagram about dealing with customers when you're stressed out yourself. And in my corporate work, I managed a team of mostly African American women. And to hear some of the stories of what they had to deal with before they came to work even was just amazing, that they were even able to service other customers that were going through the same thing or worse that they were going through. But you kind of have to lay aside your own stress at the door. It's not always easy to do, but the customer doesn't really care about that. The customer doesn't care about what you had to do before you get to work. And so that's part of the training that I provide is, how to do that. It's all part of the soft skills. How do you deal with somebody that's broke and doesn't have money to pay their bills, and you're in the same position as them,
Right.
So a lot of us deal with that on a daily basis that are in customer service.
Definitely. And such a great point you mentioned, going back to that, is the hasty generalization. I love that you mentioned that. And just to put my 2 cents in it, when I'm having these discussions with my friends, it's the same situation in that we have to be active shoppers and give that constructive criticism and say, I want you to know that this is the reason I'm not happy, and this is how you can improve for the next person. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there.
Well, one thing, go ahead. Well, one thing, Monique, with that is, I will, you try to talk to the owner, and that's with anyone in business. They have to want to be receptive to what you're saying, but it's the way we say it. If I'm going to you as a business owner with an attitude, you will probably be resistant to hear what I'm saying. But if I come with you and say, this is what happened and this is how it could have been handled better, I think most business owners would be receptive, especially if they see money walking out the door.
So, Claudette, who are some business owners that you feel are doing it right and setting examples?
I I named about 6 or 7, and I'm like, let me stop. But these are people I do business with, and I've had excellent service. And the other thing I looked at, Monique, is I'm all about helping each other. And so some of these businesses that I am going to mention not only are successful, but they're helping others be successful as well. And I think that matters a lot. I named, Kingdom Virtual Assistants, Man Cave Recording, Entrepreneurial Exchange Group, My Coach Char, CHIR, Victorious Living, Epic April, and Samantha Pointer. And these are just some of the businesses that I've been doing business with as a businesswoman and have been just extremely proud and blessed to be able to do business with them.
So what would you say are some of the things that makes them stand out, if you could, just like some specific things?
We'll take Victorious Living. Valerie Preister is the CEO of that company, and she is a coach. She's a business coach, but she takes time to really push her clients and not accept mediocrity as the norm. She will push, and she doesn't always, she's in business, of course, for profit. But a lot of the things that she does is she just does it for free without charge in an effort to help people succeed, mostly women, but people succeed in their businesses just as she has, because she's been through trying to be a corporate worker and build a business, and now as a full-time entrepreneur. So her experiences are invaluable, and she doesn't mind sharing them. And then if I can mention My Coach Char, her target audience is moms, working moms, because she is one. And just managing time and how to deal with the things that come with being a working mom and not always having the time to do everything. I say like June Cleaver, just dating myself, but in a perfect way, like the textbooks say that it should be done. And she gives and gives of herself. And she still, has children in school. And so she's doing that while still being a mom and a wife.
Superwoman. Love it. So let's talk about the action part of it, because we prepared some great content, and as listeners can tell thus far, but I always want to get to how can we implement the things that we've learned. So if you could, with At Your Service Consulting, pairing the two, what are some of the mistakes in your experiences that you've seen business owners make when it comes to serving and finding their ideal customer, and how you were able to find your ideal customer with At Your Service Consulting?
I think one of the things that businesses do, you have a good idea, a great idea, and you start out and you don't define who your target audience is. You just want to help and serve everybody and make all the money possible.
Yes.
But when you do that, and I really had to look at it coming out of corporate, when you do that, you can't, unless you have a large team to support you, you can't do that. Or at least I find that I haven't been able to do it. So I think that one of the things that business owners do, especially startup businesses, is you do not clearly define your target audience so that you can successfully service them and give them what they need, give them the attention to detail. And what I'm learning, honestly, I'm still learning, is that if you service those customers in your target audience they're going to refer others to your business, and you will grow to a point where you will need a team. And I'm not there yet. I don't need a team yet, but I am going to. I know that. Okay. So I say serve your target audience initially, serve them well, and they will serve you well also. And then another thing that we need to look closer at is finding out what really matters to our customers. Because one of the things that I've been studying more and doing more research on is just this whole generational thing as it relates to customer service. We may think that the millennial customer wants to look in our face and have a conversation, but not necessarily. So really knowing what your customers wants. And sometimes that comes through surveying or again, just talking to them and asking them, what is it that you want? What is good service to you? What's good customer service to you? Because it's not the same for everybody.
Definitely. And you mentioned a good point, even surveying, like that's one of the things I've been doing more of recently. And I expressed to my team, we can't continuously feel like we know the answers. And it's like, here you go, take it, take what we give you, because no one is going to listen. Then you have to figure out, like you said, what is it that the people we're serving want? And it's about, sometimes surveying. So that's a great point.
Yeah. Verbatims are very valuable. I used to tell my team feedback is a gift, and that's whether it's good or bad. You may have a customer that says your service stinks. Every time I come in, I'm disappointed or whatever, but you can follow up on that and see exactly what's driving those comments and then course correct. So feedback is definitely invaluable to a business owner.
And you talked about, being prepared for those moments when you do get a team. And sometimes it's just for a lot of, entrepreneurs just starting out, it's just them. So when they have been used to running their business a certain way and it's time to take on that other person, what are some ways that they can train employees to deal with those difficult customers who may have that feedback that they're not ready to listen to or they don't want to listen to, but it's important for their business maybe, or just difficult customers, period?
The main thing I think is to let the customer contact personnel know that it's not personal. That was one of the key lessons I learned when I was a customer representative, because I had one specific customer who did not want to talk to me because I was Black and because I was a woman. And we find that, unfortunately. And so, the natural tendency is to say something that may not be pleasant. But I think that's one of the things, you don't get that kind of thing often, but just dealing with customers who don't necessarily want to deal with you or say, they come in saying things that are seemingly directed toward you, but they don't know you. So it's not really personal. It's them dealing with whatever they're dealing with and their frustration and their need to get the product or service that you're offering so that they can do what they need to do, whether it be business to business or business to consumer. It's not personal when they come at you with things that are I'll say not nice. And it takes soft skills to be able to deal with those type of customers. You need to get them from where they are at the top of the level of frustration down to a point where you can actually have a conversation and really understand what their need is and what their concern is. So I think that's very important.
Definitely. And I think we touched on this briefly, but if you would like to some more, just how can you create that strong customer experience that creates success for your business? Some ways that people can do and actually implement.
One of the most important things is actively listen to what the customer is saying. Some customers will start out with a story that seems to be non-related to what you're doing or what you're offering them. But if you actively listen to the customer, they'll let you know by their conversation, by their words, if it's face-to-face, by their body language, exactly what they're feeling and what their need is. And then showing empathy. There are words that you can use to show the customer that you really are concerned. And you'll see some people say, I understand what you're going through. You may not necessarily understand what they're going through, but you can imagine that they would be frustrated with the way things have been handled, or they are frustrated because they think the cost of your services are too high. So it's ways to show empathy to a customer, but yet still keeping it real and personal to them. Then it's important to explain, once you finish the initial conversation with them, explain what you've heard their request is. Because it's nothing worse than a customer saying, I want 5 green balls. And you say, okay, let me get that for you. And you come back with 3 green and 2 red.
Oh, wow. Yes.
If you repeat what they said, no matter what your business is or what your organization is, if you repeat what they requested, that's part of that active communication. Then if you've missed something, then that comes out before you're actually taking action to provide what they need. You let the customer know how you plan to help them and set clear expectations. I have the 5 green, but they may not all be in stock. So let me check for you how you intend to help them. And then once everything is done, reiterate what you've done, ask them, is there anything else? And that always leaves the customer open to let you know, yes, you've helped me and I'm pleased with my service that you provided, and I'll be back when I need red balls next time, and I'll probably buy 10 instead of 5, So there's just active tools to let the customer know that they're important to you, that you are not rushing them, and that you're concerned about their specific needs and requests.
Definitely. And I have to say this. So what about those times when you've tried all you can and you tried to help that customer? For instance, I have a lot of friends who are creative, so they do freelancing work and they submit, say, a proof for a photo for someone, and they just you can't satisfy that person. But you don't want them going out and talking about, oh my God, Monique did not do this right. She's just horrible. So how do you deal with either just, being okay with letting that person go or firing a customer?
That's interesting. Some of those circumstances is probably best for both. If you see that you just can't satisfy them, after inquiring as to what it is, how you can, satisfy their needs, as long as they're being reasonable, normally you can work it out through inquiry. Like, we've done X, Y, and Z, but you're still not satisfied. What can I do to satisfy your need or your request? And if they're being unreasonable, Monique, I would say they may not be the best customer for you, because no matter what you do, and it's money, I understand that, but my husband says sometimes all money isn't good money.
That's true.
because if they're just not satisfied and they're nitpicky and not, nothing you do is going to satisfy them, you're kind of spinning your wheels and wasting your time. But I think for the most part, to answer your question, through inquiry, again, it's showing the customer that you are concerned about them and their needs and what they want and satisfying them, even to the point of saying, my goal is to satisfy you. Please tell me how I can do this. We've done this, this, and this. Tell me what you'd like to see differently, so that we can, come to a level of satisfaction for you. It may take, several conversations, especially for the creative types that are doing, work, that's creative. It may take several conversations, but I think most times you can come to some resolution of satisfaction for the customer.
I like that you mentioned, I've done this, this, and this. So don't forget, I've done this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm. You have to remind them, and I like dealing in situations like that in writing, because, going back and forth just verbally doesn't always cut it. You should have a contract anyway. But when it comes to them not being satisfied with the product you provided, I think it helps to put it in writing of what's wanted, what was done, so that you can go forward to resolution.
So Claudette, what has been some of your favorite tools that you've used in your own business to improve your customer service experience, or find those customers?
As I said earlier, listening is so important, but not just listening. We hear and we listen and then we communicate. One of my experiences I had was actually with a church. I did a workshop for about 40 of their leaders. And because I have been in the role that most of them are in currently, I was able to listen and communicate with them, show empathy, just the things that I just named, explain what I heard that their concerns were, and then tailor the workshop to how they could serve people coming into the church better. So the tools that I mentioned, the listening, the empathy, explaining what you heard, explaining how you help or intend to help, and then reiterating what's been done, I apply in my business as well, even with prospective clients, because it's important to set expectations. I can't go to someone and say, oh, you've got 500 employees? Yes, I can train them all at once. You have to set clear and realistic expectations for your clients, and that's all part of that effective communication.
So say, for instance, I'm a business owner who's having trouble, or maybe I am, or maybe I'm not. I don't want to run into these issues with customer service. I want to provide the best from the beginning, and I reach out to At Your Service Consulting. What are some of the first things that you would do with me?
I would set up a consultation with you to determine where you are currently as far as your customer satisfaction. What I found is that many businesses, especially small to mid-sized businesses, assume that their customers are satisfied, but don't really know. So we provide a survey that we can give to the customers, depending on the size of the business, or we can give it to the employees or leadership team to see what their views are on customer service, customer sat, because that matters. From there, depending on what the needs of the business are, we can set up either train the trainer. If a business owner says, I just don't have the budget to bring you in, Claudette, to train all of my employees. However, I'd like to offer this training. We can do train the trainer. we have a customer service manual that's available for purchase that they can do themselves. But basically just getting to what the customer needs, where they are as far as customer satisfaction, and looking at ways based on their business and their customer base to how to increase customer sat and maintain loyal customers.
I love that you have the both options for those who have the budget and those who may not necessarily have the budget, which is amazing. So it's definitely, I've learned some great things. I'm going to take away keys are patience and listening. I think that's what we can all learn to do is listen more and not feel like we always know the answers. So thank you so much for all of that great advice. Before we wrap up, I do have a couple of fire questions, and they're off topic just a little. Okay. But the first one is, what advice would you give your 23-year-old self?
My 23-year-old self, I would say to be more focused on goals. At 23, I wasn't a mom, but I was married, but I wasn't really focused on goals and, looking forward to having a career. I was just kind of working. So I would say be focused and know really what I want to do in life and prepare accordingly.
And what would you say is your life motto?
My life motto is God first, family, and then self. I think that's so important. And I know for me, and I think we tend to forget self sometimes. And as I get older, I see the importance of just putting self in that equation.
Speaking of putting self into the equation, what is your favorite way now, to relax or unwind?
I'm learning now because I'm recently retiring, but I love to just go by the water and sit and think. I love the water. And I'm in Michigan, so we have winters, but the water is still beautiful and calming to me. And so that's one of my favorite things to do. It's just so peaceful there. And then I'm a grandma too, so I love spending time with the grandkids. They give me life.
Oh, so precious. So you've earned the time to relax. And what are some of the things you're looking forward to, post retirement?
I'm looking forward to traveling and spending time with my husband. We've worked very hard. And still have our own businesses, but just spending more time with my husband and possibly traveling, and then really focusing on building at your service consulting. Working corporately, I haven't, been able to totally do that, but I'm looking forward to doing that and then expanding what at your service consulting really is and does, but mostly spending time with my husband and enjoying my house. Once I get it clean, Monique.
Extra service cleaning. We'll have to get an extra service cleaning. I need
somebody's cleaning service for real.
That is so true. So lastly, what is a recommended read for our audience?
I have two books, one that I just got actually, but the one is Busy Woman to Business Woman. And it's 10 Steps to Start a Business, actually written by a friend of mine, and her name is Katrina Hurst. Excellent book to give ideas and thoughts on, even before starting a business, what it entails, because I think a lot of us go into business thinking it's just, I'll just open the doors and it'll be simple, but you don't think about expenses and budget and all of that. So her book. And then I also follow, if you will, Shep Hyken, who's one of the top customer service gurus, if you will. He has a book, Amaze Every Customer Every Time, and it provides 52 tools for delivering amazing customer service. So those are two books that I recommend.
Noted. So Claudette, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your retirement and just all your hard work. But before you go, please tell our audience, how can they support what you're doing? How can they contact you if they're interested in your services? And what's next?
I do have 2 products that are out. If you support me in that way, that would be great. I have a customer service manual entitled Delivering Out of the Ordinary Results. It's available on Amazon. And then I have a small inspirational ebook that is out on Gumboard, I think it is. And the name of that is Customer Service Tips and Treasures. But if you'd like to contact me, I do have a website. The address is www.atyourserviceconsultingonline.com. Or my phone number is 888-272-3680. And then I'm also available on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter under At Your Service Consulting, LLC.
Amazing. So she gave you all the phone number, so you know you have no excuse now. So thank you so much. Claudette, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us about the importance of using customer service in your business. I know that you guys took away something, and I hope you took away something. So thank you again.
Yeah, and thank you, Monique. I appreciate the opportunity to do it. I really do, and I wish you much success in all that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, you can follow us at Black to Business. You can contact us at hello@blacktobusiness.com. Make sure to rate and subscribe to this podcast so that we can have more amazing guests like Claudette. And we wish you well in your businesses. And that's a wrap.